Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. And if you enjoy the fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic.
What if Naruto had the powers of every alien and became the god of time and space? Chapter 1. In the Elemental Nations, their village surrounded by a forest of trees known to the Elemental Nations as the village hidden in the leaf. In the village lived a boy. This boy was special. Yeah, special. For the longest time people hated and ignored him, but he didn't know why. The boy's name was Naruto Uzumaki. Since the day he was born, Naruto was burdened with the task of keeping the Kyuubi in bay within him. This is why people hated Naruto, as he was seen as the Kyuubi instead of its jailer by most of Konoha. In this village, right now Naruto was running out of the village with a scroll because he failed to graduate, and that was when Mizuki, one of Naruto's senseis, had told him that if he took the forbidden scroll from the Hokage's office and learned a jutsu from it, then he would be able to graduate. After Naruto found a good place, he stopped and saw what only a few ever saw, forbidden jutsus and secrets, but he looked through the first few pages and found a jutsu that caught his eye. He read and found out it was time and space jutsu, which sounded cool to him, so he tried to learn it. First meld chakra, then keep a hold of that chakra. Read out Naruto as he did the hand signs that was shown on the page. Then you say time and space jutsu. Teleportation. Called out Naruto as he disappeared in a flash of light and then reappear in an instant at what seemed to be a museum of sorts, but he wasn't sure as everything looked advanced, like nothing he had ever seen. It was clear to him that he didn't know where he was. Suddenly a door opened and in walked a small, strange, gray creature, with a head as big as his body with big eyes. "What are you doing here?" asked the small creature as he looked at Naruto for the answer. Quote. Naruto was gonna say something as he opened his mouth, but nothing came out of his mouth, so he closed his mouth. "Well, speak," said the gray creature as he looked at the blonde-haired human stranger who was wearing ugly orange clothes. Why the human wore those hideous clothes was a mystery to the gray creature. Quote. Naruto wanted to say something, but he was speechless at the fact that the small, strange, gray creature could speak. "You could at least introduce yourself, after all you're in my museum," stated the strange creature as he waited for the blonde to introduce himself. Naruto shook his head. "Sorry about that. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. What's yours?" said Naruto as he introduced himself before he asked the alien what his or her name was. "I'm Azimuth, the smartest being in 5 galaxies, and I'm also a Galvan," said the creature, now known as Azimuth. Azimuth introduced himself to Naruto as he gloated about being the smartest being in 5 galaxies. "Galaxies? What are galaxies?" asked Naruto with curiosity in his voice as he was interested in knowing what galaxies were. "You are a human, right?" asked Azimuth, and Naruto responded by nodding his head. "Then how do you not know what a galaxy is?" asked Azimuth. He had been to Earth before, mostly because of Ben Tennyson, and he knew that humans were smart enough to know about what a galaxy is. "How did you get here then?" asked Azimuth curiously. After all, this was his museum in his world, which was heavily guarded and protected by a lot of high-level technology. In fact, it's one of the most secure places in the universe and virtually impossible to get into. "Well, I used a time and space jutsu and then I accidentally teleported here," explained Naruto as he did use a time and space jutsu to get here. "What's a jutsu?" asked Azimuth. He's never heard of it before, and he knew almost everything about the universe and everything else, but he has never heard of a jutsu. "Seriously, you're the smartest being in 5 galaxies and you don't know what a jutsu is?" questioned Naruto as he gave Azimuth a look that said, "Are you kidding me? Geez, why don't you tell me jutsu is?" Azimuth said with sarcastic voice. "Before I tell you what jutsu is, you must know what chakra is," said Naruto as he got ready to explain what jutsu and chakra is. Chakra is essential to even the most basic jutsu. It is the molding physical energy present in every cell of the body and spiritual energy, mental energy which is gained from the mind. Once molded, it can be channeled through the chakra pathway system, which is to chakra is what the circulatory system is to blood, to any of the 361 tenketsu in the body. Through various methods, the most common of which is hand signs, the chakra can then be controlled and manipulated to create an effect that would not be considered impossible, such as breathing fire or creating illusions. Said Naruto as he explained to Azimuth what chakra was and what jutsus was as well. Naruto wasn't actually stupid. In fact, he was very intelligent for his age, but the reason why he did so bad was because almost all the teacher got of their way to sabotage Naruto's education, teaching him nothing at all or give him stuffs that wouldn't help his education at all. Eventually Naruto was able to figure out that most of the teachers weren't teaching him anything of value, so he messed around in the lessons seeing as they weren't teaching him anything useful. No way. That's impossible for a human to breathe fire, stated Azimuth as he eyed at Naruto to see if he was lying. Before Azimuth looked around the room to see if he was being pranked by someone. It was probably Ben. Azimuth was going to give Ben the beating of a lifetime if he was pranking him. Well, I used chakra to teleport here, said Naruto as he looked at the page for any clues as to why he was teleported here. Page 21. Name of jutsu. Time and space jutsu. Teleportation. Description: this jutsu allows the user to teleport anywhere they want, but it can only be used by some with a strong body and a strong will. This jutsu, if mastered, allows the user to teleport anywhere their heart desires without having to do hand signs or call out the name of the jutsu. It can be used to retreat from enemies as well as ambush your enemies from behind them. Warning: you must have a strong body. You must have a strong will, and you must have at least Junin level chakra reserves or else you will die. P.S. You must think of the place you want to teleport to and the jutsu will lock on to the place, before the jutsu takes you to that place. End of page. Naruto slapped himself after he read the page. Oh, said Naruto as thought back to when he was first reading the page. He was so excited to use the jutsu that he don't see the warning. How about you show a jutsu or two? Asked Azimuth as he thought that using chakra to do the impossible was logically impossible. Okay, this is my first time doing this, said Naruto as he went through hand signs very slowly before he called out, time and space jutsu, teleportation. Naruto disappeared in a flash of light. Azimuth looked around but couldn't see him. Behind you, said Naruto as Azimuth turned behind to see Naruto grinning like crazy. This was shock to Azimuth as he always believed logic was the way to go and that everything could be explained logically. Then this kid shows up and knocks all of that out the window. Henge, called out Naruto as he turned into an exact copy of Azimuth. To Azimuth it was like looking into a mirror and seeing his reflection. What Naruto did made Azimuth's mouth drop and land on the floor. How about you teach me everything you know and I'll do the same, said Naruto as he looked at Azimuth. It took a minute for Azimuth to agree as he was trying to pick up his jaw from the demonstration that Naruto just showed. After a year, over the year, Naruto learned about the tree walking exercise and water walking exercise. He did the exercises over and over until he had almost perfect chakra control. He had learned and mastered the time and space jutsu. Naruto had read the Forbidden Scroll and found another jutsu, the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto had trained very hard and looked through the Forbidden Scroll when he found lots of jutsus that were useful and powerful but dangerous in the wrong hands. So he copied down the dangerous and useful jutsus in another scroll just for him before he got rid of them. Naruto started to spam clones when he learned that he would get any information that his clones knowed. This meant that it would cut down the time it took to learn and master jutsus as he learned more than just 2 jutsus from the forbidden and modified some of the jutsus to make them his jutsu. Naruto had also spent time with Azimuth knowing about many things, if not everything, like science, literature, mathematics, etc. This meant that Naruto's was able to get the education he didn't get in the academy, and he was smarter than before as he knew so much. During the time they spent, Azimuth could see that Naruto was able to regenerate quicker than anything he hadn't seen, which led to this. "Hey Naruto, I was wondering if you would like to get stronger?" asked Azimuth as he wanted Naruto to say yes. This question caused Naruto raise an eyebrow. "Yeah, I do. Why?" asked Naruto as he was wondering why Azimuth was asking. "There is a way I can make you stronger. It's an experiment which I think you survive," answered Azimuth as he didn't want to lie. "What is this experiment?" asked Naruto as he wanted to know just what Azimuth was going to do and to see what Azimuth was planning. "This is where I inject the DNA of every alien in the universe in you and give you the ability to use power of all the aliens. This would make you logically stronger, faster, smarter and far more deadlier than anyone else in the universe," explained Azimuth as he told Naruto everything. Azimuth didn't want to make Naruto go through with the experiment without his consent and didn't want to force him to either. "So why haven't you done it yet?" asked Naruto as he would have thought that people would be lining up to have all of that power. "Because they would die from the pain and they can't regenerate fast enough to save themselves from the wound all over their body like you can," stated Azimuth as he knew that the only person who could go through the process and live would be Naruto thanks to his strong body, his unbreakable willpower and his fast regeneration. The advantages of this experiment successing far outweighs the disadvantages of the experiment, so I'm in, said Naruto as having ultimate power was worth the process. Naruto strapped on the steel table as they were thousands upon thousands of needles on top of him. They were going to inject the DNAs as soon as it was on time. "Calm down, ignore the pain and stay still, that way," advised Azimuth before he pressed the red button on the remote in his hand. As soon as he pressed the button, all of the needles pierced through Naruto's skin before injecting the DNAs. It hurt like hell. It felt like being stabbed 1,000 times over and over, non-stop, but Naruto ignored the pain and stayed still as the pain increased until soon it felt like he was cut into pieces. Naruto stood still as the process continued for about 10 minutes. When the process was finished, Azimuth pressed the red button and the needles left Naruto's body and hung up in the same place height it did before the process. Naruto's body changed as he was now 5 feet 4 and his hair reached the back of neck and he had 2 jaw-length bangs that were more darker shade of blonde than before, and now he had compact muscles and his skin became more tanned and naturally than it did before. "I would say the experiment went well," said Naruto as he felt more stronger and more powerful than before as then his strength had increased tenfold. Naruto got up and tried to walk, but he fell as his legs and most of his body had gone numb as he couldn't get up. "Don't try to move, you went through a lot of pain and your body is busy healing your body," said Azimuth as he got a robot to help get Naruto up and help get Naruto to his bed. As soon as Naruto landed on his bed, he fell asleep instantly as he was exhausted from what he just went through. 3 years later. "Naruto, you're leaving already?" said Azimuth as he looked Naruto. Over the years Naruto started to see Naruto as a son, though he would never tell him or anyone else that. "Yeah, I have to go, but thanks for everything. I promised I will come back soon," said Naruto as he looked Azimuth. Naruto still looked the same as he did before. Naruto was wearing a black jacket with green lines around it over black Anbu shirt. He also wore black Anbu pants and wore white gloves. "You better come back," said Azimuth as he smiled and waved goodbye to Naruto. "You know I never break a promise. Oh, and thanks for everything, really," said Naruto as he grinned at Azimuth and waved goodbye before disappearing in a flash of light. Naruto reappeared in the place where he was before he used the jutsu. When Naruto heard, "Naruto, why did you steal the forbidden scroll from Hokage's office?" asked the person that Naruto knew as Iruka. "Mizuki-sensei said that if I got this forbidden jutsu and learn a jutsu from it, then I will be able to graduate and become a ninja," said Naruto as he pretended to be stupid. "Look out, yelled Iruka as a group of shuriken were flying towards Naruto, but Iruka pulled Naruto out of the way. "Naruto, give me the scroll now," said Mizuki as he held his hand out to Naruto. Iruka took out the kunai that was stabbing his leg out. "Naruto, don't give it to him," said Iruka as he knew that Mizuki was a traitor and just wanted the forbidden scroll to sell it to someone for something like money or use it for his own power. "Naruto, don't trust Iruka. He and everyone else has been lying to you. The Sandaime Hokage made a law that no one can tell you that the Kyuubi is sealed inside of you. The Kyuubi that killed Iruka's parents and destroy our village has taken over your body. You are the Kyuubi no Yoko," said Mizuki as he took out his shuriken, which was a huge shuriken. "Die, Naruto!" shouted Mizuki as he threw the huge shuriken at Naruto. Before Naruto could do anything, Iruka got in front of Naruto as he had his back impaled by the huge shuriken. "When I lost my parents, my grades dropped and I acted like the class clown because I just wanted them to see me and to know my name. My schoolwork wasn't good enough to get their attention, so I did crazy things and then I had to pay for it. It was hard. I know how you feel, Naruto. You're lonely and it hurts inside. I'm sorry I let you down," said Iruka as tears were flowing out of Iruka's eyes as it landed on Naruto. "Don't listen to him. He hates your guts. The Kyuubi that's sealed in you is the one that killed Iruka's parents. He's just saying that to get the scroll from him," stated Mizuki. Naruto got in front of Iruka and took out the huge shuriken that pierced through the skin of Iruka's back and threw it at Mizuki, who dodged it and jumped down on the ground. "Don't worry, Iruka-sensei. I trust you," said Naruto as he shot a caring look at Iruka before it was replaced with a serious look, and Naruto faced Mizuki. "So the Kyuubi thinks he can beat me. Looks like I will be able to get the forbidden scroll easily after all," said Mizuki with a smug look on his face as he thought that he would be able to beat Naruto and take the forbidden scroll from Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, called out Naruto as 100 solid clones of Naruto poofed into existence and were in different places, surrounding Mizuki. "Oh shit, screwed," said Mizuki as the solid clones of Naruto charged at Mizuki and started to give him a painful beating as they threw a couple of punches here and a few kicks there until Mizuki was knocked. Iruka saw everything that happened. "Naruto, close your eyes," said Iruka as Naruto closed his eyes. Naruto could feel something being put on his forehead and he instantly knew that it was a Konoha headband. "Now open your eyes," said Iruka as Naruto opened his eyes. "Congratulations, Naruto. You're now a ninja," stated Iruka as he smiled at Naruto. Suddenly he was tackled to the ground by Naruto as Naruto hugged him. Not because Naruto was excited about being a ninja, but the fact that Naruto hasn't seen Iruka for 4 years. Naruto was in the Hokage's office and he was in front of the Sandaime Hokage. "Hiruzen Sarutobi, what happened to you?" asked Sarutobi as he had seen Naruto yesterday, but today Naruto looked like a young adult as his face lacked any baby fat whatsoever. "I awakened my bloodline," stated Naruto with a serious face. This surprised and shocked Sarutobi. Sarutobi was surprised to see Naruto look serious and he was shocked to hear that Naruto had a bloodline. "You have a bloodline?" asked a surprised and shocked Sarutobi as he didn't think that Naruto even had a bloodline since his parents didn't. "Yeah and no, my parents didn't have as it is very dormant in my family line as it can only appear in a child every 2-3 generations, that is why my father didn't inherit it or his grandfather," said Naruto as he explained why his parents didn't have and why he did. "Wait a minute, did he say his parents? Do you know who your parents are?" asked Sarutobi as he was begging in his head that Naruto didn't. "My parents are Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki," said Naruto in knowing way. This made Sarutobi wonder how Naruto knew who his parents were. "Before you ask, I know Minato is my father because he and I look exactly the same, while I knew Kushina was my mother because she was the only Uzumaki that lived in Konoha and my last name is Uzumaki," stated Naruto as though it was the most simplest thing in the world. he knew for a long time who his parents were but chose not to tell as they probably wouldn't believe him. Naruto, I'm sorry that kept it a secret and I'm sorry that I failed you, said Sarutobi as he apologized for everything. Gigi, you don't need to apologize, everything you did and every action you took was what you thought was best and right for me, said Naruto as he smiled Sarutobi like he always did. It made Sarutobi see that Naruto wasn't a kid anymore, he was now a serious adult that was understanding. Well Gigi, I'm going to bed, said Naruto as he was about to head out the door. Naruto, I'm sorry but I'm going, we have to have council meeting about your bloodline and your CRA, said Sarutobi. He didn't want to do this but he had to because he was the Hokage and he couldn't let his love for Naruto get in the way of his work. Can we do it the day after tomorrow? Asked Naruto as he didn't want to have to see those assholes today or tomorrow. He knew that most of the clan council and the Hokage was okay but the rest were a bunch of assholes with huge sticks up their asses. Sure, said Sarutobi as he smiled at Naruto. He may not be able to keep Naruto's bloodline a secret but he could decide when the meeting would take place. Okay, goodbye Gigi, said Naruto as he left. It took a few minutes to get to his apartment as he jumped from roof to roof while using chakra to increase his speed. Naruto got inside and saw that his apartment is just as shit as before but after 8 months or so he will move to a better place. Naruto got into his bedroom and took off his jacket before he went to sleep on his bed. Naruto got up and went into the toilet to brush his teeth and wash his face before he went to the kitchen to make himself some ramen and then eat the ramen, which reminded him to ask Azimuth for food because he doubted any store would sell him anything. Once Naruto finished his ramen, he rushed to the academy. Naruto walked into the academy and got in front of the door that Iruka told him about. Then he opened the door and walked inside to see a lot of people. Naruto walked through the class ignoring the looks he got and sat down at the spot he always sat at. Who are you? Asked Sasuke as this person who sat at the spot that Naruto used to sit in looked a bit like Naruto but was older. He didn't know what the person was doing here. Naruto, stated Naruto as he put his head down and closed his eyes. He was bored as there was nothing to do since Iruka wasn't here yet. Naruto, said Sasuke as he yelled a bit, getting everyone's attention. What about Naruto? Asked Kiba as he and the rest of the gang joined in on the conversation. The gang was basically just Hinata, Shino, Choji, Shikamaru, Sakura and Ino. He's Naruto, said Sasuke as he pointed to the guy sitting next to him, which made him sound a bit crazy to the gang. The gang reacted by, "Did you lose your mind?" asked the whole gang looking at Sasuke as if he was crazy for suggesting something like that. Before Sasuke could say anything, Iruka appeared in front of the class and used his jutsu, the giant demon head jutsu. Listen up, he said as he used the giant demon head jutsu to get everyone's attention. Team 1, Team 3, Team 6, Team 7 will consist of Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. Their sensei will be Kakashi Hatake. Team 8 will consist of Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame and Hinata Hyuga. Their sensei will be Kurenai Yuhi. Team 9 is still in circulation from last year. Team 10 will consist of Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akamichi and Ino Yamanaka. Their sensei will be Asuma Sarutobi. Said Iruka then he shunshined out of there as his job was done and he did what he was supposed to do. Naruto got out a orange book that had the title, Ichi Ichi Paradise, The Journey of a Sage, and read it. On the inside he was pissed out off. I get stuck with the king of emos and the banshee, just great, thought Naruto, but he ignored it and started reading his book. Sakura was jumping up and down with her hands up in the air as she got to be in the same team as her Sasuke-kun as she continued to shout how true love conquers all. Ino had her head down on the table as she got stuck with the lazy Nara and the busy, non-stop eating machine that was Choji and mumbled about how life is not fair and why couldn't have she been in Sasuke's team. Suddenly a red-eyed beauty appeared and managed to caught Naruto's attention. "Teammate, come with me." And with that she took Teammate and left, but not before glaring at the orange book, which Naruto was reading. After 2 hours, all of the senseis appeared and took their team. Asuma came and took Team 10. Then all the other senseis came and left with their team, leaving only Team 7 to continue waiting for their sensei as they did for 2 hours. Finally the door opened and in came a masked man who had long, silver, gravity-defying hair. "My first impression of you is you're boring," stated the masked man. "Is that you're going to say after we waited for about 2 hours for you to show up?" screeched Sakura as the guys covered their ears with their hands to avoid getting a earache. Kakashi chose to ignore her. "Meet me up on the roof," said Kakashi before he shunshined away, leaving the 3 genins behind. Naruto disappeared in a flash of light, so now there were only 2 genins that were left behind. They walked out the room and headed up to the roof as Sasuke wondered how Naruto did that while Sakura was following Sasuke like a puppy. Naruto appeared on the roof, right next to Kakashi, who was taking out an orange book from his back pocket but stopped when he saw Naruto appear in a flash of light. "Yo!" said Naruto before he got out his own orange book from his jacket and started to read it as he made perverted giggles with the usually blood coming out of his nose. "I've never been so proud of a student. I'm proud of you, Naruto," thought Kakashi as he was happy to have a student that appreciated Ichi Paradise, before he pulled out his orange book as he read it and had a nosebleed while was making the giggling sound, just like Naruto. After 10 minutes, Sasuke and Sakura got to the roof to see Naruto and Kakashi reading an orange book as they were giggling and blood was coming out of their nose. Once the 2 perverts saw that Sasuke and Sakura finally made it, they put away the orange books. "Alrighty then. Since we're going to be a team now, I guess it's time to introduce ourselves," said Kakashi as his 3 new students, who were sitting down in front of the masked ninja. "Why don't show us how to?" asked Sakura looking at Kakashi, which made the guys wonder how did she become Kunoichi of the year, but none of them said it out loud because they didn't want her to screech and give them an earache. "I'm Kakashi Hatake. Things I likes and things I hate. I don't feel like telling you my dreams for the future. Never really thought about it. As for my hobbies, I have too many to count," said Kakashi as he introduced himself, but that was useless because all the 3 new genins learned was Kakashi's full name. "You're up, Pinky," said Kakashi as he suggested Sakura to introduce herself. "I'm Sakura Haruno. I like," said Sakura looking at Sasuke before continuing. "I hate Ino Pig and Naruto. My dreams for future is, and my hobbies include," said Sakura as she finished her introduction. Every time she stopped, she glanced at Sasuke and giggled. "You're up," said Kakashi as he looked Sasuke and gestured Sasuke to introduce himself. "I'm Sasuke Uchiha. I don't like anything. I hate a lot of things. My dreams for the future is to revive my clan and kill a certain someone," said Sasuke as he introduced himself. Naruto expected that Sasuke would say something like that. "Okay. You're up, blonde," said Kakashi as he gestured to Naruto to introduce himself. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I like gardening, ramen, and the Ichi Paradise series. I hate arrogant people, ignorant people, assholes, rapists and liars. My dreams for the future is become a powerful cage and make my village the strongest. My hobbies include gardening, training, cooking and reading Ichi Paradise books," said Naruto as he introduced himself. "I have a love-struck fangirl, stalker, a emo Uchiha and an ambitious student who wants to become Hokage. The first 2 don't seem to be mentally stable, but the last one seems mentally stable," thought Kakashi as he listened to their introductions and realized that only Naruto seemed mentally stable to become a ninja, and he also seemed ambitious unlike the other 2. "Listen up. You will have your first mission tomorrow. The mission is a survival exercise with the 4 of us. We will meet up in Train Ground 7 at 8 a.m., stated Kakashi. "Why are we doing more exercise?" Didn't we do enough exercises in the academy before we graduated? Asked Sakura. She was wondering why they were doing boring lame exercises instead of missions that ninjas normally do. This is a test to see if you are ready to become genins or not, and I will decide if you pass or fail, but be warned that there is a 1/3 possibility of passing, said Kakashi as he explained why they were doing it and why it was important. But didn't we already pass? I thought we were genins now. Asked Sasuke as he did think they were already genins. They did graduate and they were already genins. The graduation was just to see who could possibly become genins, but this test will determine whether or not you will be genin. If not, you will be sent back to the academy, said Kakashi as the genins realized just how important the test was and learned that they still had to do this test in order to become real genin. Oh, and one more thing. Don't eat breakfast or else you'll puke tomorrow, said Kakashi before he shunshined away, leaving the genins a bit scared and nervous about what Kakashi meant when he said they'll puke, well, all except Naruto. Oh, and one more thing. Don't eat breakfast or else you'll puke tomorrow, said Kakashi before he shunshined away, leaving the genins a bit scared and nervous about what Kakashi meant when he said they'll puke, well, all except Naruto. Naruto just shrugged before he disappeared in a flash of light back to his apartment, leaving Sasuke and Sakura to walk down the stairs, again while their fellow genin and their teacher were able to teleport to anywhere without having to walk. Sometimes life wasn't fair. So my jutsu not lets me go to any place or anytime. I guess I'll meet Azimuth, said Naruto, wondering what to do next. He decided to go and get some food from Azimuth. Naruto disappeared in a flash of light and reappeared behind Azimuth. Azimuth knew that it was Naruto and didn't even flinch at the flash of light because Naruto did it over and over that Azimuth was used to it. I see you did came back, though you came back a bit earlier than expected, said Azimuth. Azimuth just said goodbye to Naruto just yesterday and Naruto was back already. Azimuth was happy that Naruto came back, though he did wonder why Naruto came back so early. Well, I forgot to ask you for some food and clothes, stated Naruto as he scratched the back of his head as he chuckled at forgetting about that. There at the back, open the door with the number 7 on it, said Azimuth, never turning his back to Naruto as Azimuth was busy creating what looked like an Omnitrix. Azimuth's sweat dropped at Naruto for forgetting to took food and clothes as they were important. He figured that if someone could forget important stuff, then of course it would be Naruto. Okay, said Naruto before he ran to the back to see 16 doors. Naruto kept walking past the doors until he saw the door with the number 7 and he opened it to see his food and decided to make 2 storage seals, one to seal all the food and the other one to seal all the clothes. Though Naruto was beginner in Fuinjutsu, he did know how to make a storage seal. Once Naruto sealed all the food and clothes, he went to Azimuth to see what he was busy with. What is that? Asked Naruto as he saw what Azimuth was making and was wondering what it was. This is a basic design of what I'm going to make, which is a better version, the Omnitrix, answered Azimuth as he never left his eyes off the thing now known as the Omnitrix. Naruto remembered what Azimuth said about the Omnitrix and knew what it could do, so he decided it was time to leave. See you later, Azimuth, said Naruto before he disappeared in a flash of light. Naruto reappeared in a flash of light in his apartment and saw that the time was the same as when he left, and this helped prove that his theory was right, that his time and space jutsu could take anywhere at any time. It truly was a time and space jutsu. Naruto unsealed the food that he took and put it in the fridge and in the kitchen for later when he was hungry and needed to eat. Naruto went to the bedroom and unsealed the clothes, so he could put them in the closet. After that, Naruto looked at the clock in his living room and saw that it was just 3:49 p.m., meaning he still had time. Naruto got up and walked to the Hokage's office while he was reading a Ichi Paradise book, which got him glares from the opposite, but he paid them no attention as he was focusing on where he was going and on the book. Naruto got to the door and put away his book before he opened the door. Naruto, what can I do for you? asked Sarutobi as he held warm and caring aura which made Naruto feel at ease. Sarutobi also had a kind smile on his face that made Naruto feel like he could trust the Hokage. I was wondering if you wanted to get some ramen, said Naruto as he grinned at Sarutobi like a child. Naruto saw Sarutobi as a grandfather and enjoyed his company. Besides, there weren't a lot of people who liked him or even hang out with him. Sure Naruto, I'm not busy, said Sarutobi as he and Naruto walked to Ikiraki's ramen. Sarutobi liked Naruto and thought of him as his grandson, also it let him get some air and let him avoid paperwork. So Naruto, how have you been? Asked Sarutobi as he doesn't get a lot of free time to talk with Naruto as Naruto usually was getting into trouble while Sarutobi was busy with running the Hidden Leaf Village. Fine, it's great that I get to be a genin, just you wait because one day everyone will know my name, said Naruto as he and Sarutobi walked down the street and came to a stop when they finally reached their destination, Ichiraku's Ramen. Welcome to Ichiraku's Ramen. What would you like to have? Asked Ayame in gentle tone that was filled with joy. It's been a while since Naruto last visited Ichiraku's Ramen. Well for Naruto anyway as he was gone for 4 years though no one knew that. I would like 5 miso ramen, ordered Naruto. Naruto's tongue was almost dripping at the being able to eat Ichiraku's ramen as they made the best ramen in Naruto's opinion. He couldn't wait until he could eat it. And I will have 2 bowls of chicken ramen, ordered Sarutobi. He never did understood why Naruto and his mom were obsessed about ramen. Maybe it was a trait that all Uzumakis share, or maybe it was a trait that you would gain if you were the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi. Ayame told her father what to make and he made 1 miso and 1 chicken ramen. She brought it to the customer, which were Naruto and Sarutobi. Here are your orders, Hokage-sama, and you are, said Ayame as she waited for the unknown person to give their name. Ayame-chan, I'm hurt that you would forget me. I mean I'm your number 1 customer, said Naruto with fake hurt tone as he pretended to be hurt by what Ayame said and pretended to cry. Ayame looked at the person and saw that the person looked familiar. Blonde hair, blue eyes, whiskers marks. Then it hit her like a truck. She only knew one person who had blonde hair, blue eyes and whisker marks, and that was Naruto. Of course it's me. Who do you think I'm, the Yondaime Hokage? Said Naruto. What he said made Sarutobi do a spit take with the bit of soup he was drinking from ramen. Sarutobi was wondering if Naruto had figured it out or not. On the outside Sarutobi may looked calm, but he was panicking on the inside, hoping Naruto didn't know. Sorry Naruto. I didn't realize it was you, apologized Ayame as she was eyeing Naruto, who was eating his ramen, up and down. Ayame blushed after seeing how hot Naruto had become and was surprised that Naruto was hot. Just yesterday he was a cute little prankster, but now he was hot. It was like someone decided to make him older and hotter. So Naruto, how was your day today? Asked Ayame after she shook her and get rid of the blush on her face. I mean, this was Naruto, someone she saw as a little brother, but now she was looking at him as though he was hot piece of meat. No, she slapped herself mentally. She shouldn't be thinking of him like that. It was okay, summed up Naruto as he had missed his 4th bowl while the Hokage was still on the 1st bowl. Ayame was thinking how cool and hot Naruto sounded when he said that before she slapped herself mentally to get rid of those thoughts. Naruto ate his 5th bowl and got up. Well, I'll see ya around, said Naruto as he dug into his pocket to get out 1,000 ryo bill and gave it to Ayame. Gigi, this was nice, but I got to go, said Naruto after he got the change from Ayame and waved Sarutobi goodbye before leaving. Naruto decided to go and find a shop to get some weapons. Naruto walked around and looked for a shop that would sell him some weapons. He kept looking around until he stopped when he saw a weapons shop. The shop was pretty big and seemed full of all sorts of weapons and products. The shop had a banner on top that said Higurashi Weapons Store. Naruto looked around for some kunais and a couple of shurikens as he needed them for the test tomorrow. Naruto grabbed 10 kunai, 20 shurikens and 2 demon wind shurikens before heading to the register. When he got to the register he saw a girl who was probably 13, she had wrapped her hair around into two buns and she had brown eyes. Naruto put the weapons in front of her. "That will be 5,500 ryo," said the girl. Naruto got out a 5,000 ryo and a 1,000 ryo bill. She took the money and gave a 500 ryo coin. She looked at him closely and blushed when she saw that he was hot. "Come back again, handsome," said Tenten as she waved him goodbye. She thought that the person she saw was hot. She swore she never saw anyone as hot as him. She wished in her head that she would see him again. Naruto got his weapons and he left. Naruto decided to get two different Ichi Paradise books because he was about to finish the book that he was reading. Naruto headed to a general store and looked around when he saw that there was at least 8 different Ichi Paradise book. He grabbed 2 books that were Ichi Paradise, The Life of a Rogue Ninja, and Ichi Paradise, Man on a Mission. Naruto walked to the register. "I would like to buy this," said Naruto as he looked at the girl. She was chewing gum when Naruto walked up to her. The woman got up and scanned the 2 books. "That be 400 ryo," said the woman. Naruto took out the 500 ryo coin and gave it to her. She took it and gave him a 100 ryo coin. Naruto took the books and left the store as he headed home. He got there and looked at the clock in the living room and saw that it was 7:08 p.m. and put the books he got on his bookshelf where he had all the books that he thought was awesome, or books that he read to help with him being a great ninja, such as A Beginner's Guide to Fuinjutsu and How to Become an Expert in Taijutsu. Naruto went to the kitchen and started making himself something to eat. It took him about 20 minutes, but he was able to make a beef burger and fries. Once Naruto finished eating, he went to bed and fell asleep after he put all of the weapons away. Naruto got up. He brushed his teeth and washed his face before he went to the kitchen to make himself some breakfast. He had cooked sausages and baked beans. He took 3 kunais and 6 shurikens before he left. Naruto decided to walk there while he read his book Ichi Paradise. Naruto kept walking for 45 minutes before he got to Training Ground 7 where he saw Sasuke and Sakura were standing and waiting for Kakashi. Naruto decided to lean against a tree as he sat down and read his book. Naruto read the book for about 15 minutes. Seeing as Kakashi was taking his time, Naruto decided to fall asleep as he and the other 2 genins waited for Kakashi. After an hour had passed, Naruto stood when he sensed Kakashi approaching. Kakashi shunshined in front of the genins. "Yo!" said Kakashi as waved at the genins. "You're late!" shout Sakura and Sasuke as they glared at Kakashi. If looks could kill them, Kakashi would be dead. Sakura and Sasuke were angry at Kakashi as because of him they were hungry and tired from waking up early and waiting for 2 hours for him to appear. "I was late because a black cat crossed my way, so I had to go all the way around Konoha to get here," said Kakashi as he smiled at them in a way that just made them know that he was lying. "Liar!" yelled out Sakura and Sasuke as they didn't believe Kakashi a single bit and were pissed at him for being late, as he told them to come so early and then decided to not show at the time he told them to come. "Anyways, the test is simple. Your goal is to try and take these bells from me. If you get a bell then you pass and you become a genin," said Kakashi as he took out 2 bells and showed 2 bells that were joined together by string. "But sensei, there's 2 bells, so one of us is bound to fail," said Sakura as she noticed that there were 2 bells and 3 of them, so one of them had to fail. "If you don't get a bell before the time runs out, then you'll be sent back to the academy," stated Kakashi as he saw the looks of the genins, the sheer disbelief in their faces. "Test will begin in 3, 2, 1, go," said Kakashi as he counted down. The genins looked at each other before they separated and stopped when they found a good to hide in. They hid in different places all except Naruto. "Kakashi, get ready," said Naruto as he created 3 solid clone, who grabbed Kakashi and held him down as the real Naruto went for the knockout punch, a clone of himself who Kakashi shunshined with. "Naruto, look out," said Sasuke as he tried to warn Naruto but failed as Kakashi was almost finished. Secret Hidden Leaf Village Jutsu. 1,000 Years of Death. Shouted Kakashi as he joined his index fingers and his middle fingers and used them to stab Naruto in his anus, causing Naruto to shoot into the air, while Sasuke and Sakura just deadpanned how that was even a jutsu. OWWWWW. Was all Naruto could say as his butt was hurting and he was sent flying. Naruto touched his butt with his hand as he waited for the pain to go away. Big chill. Naruto landed on the ground as he shot towards Kakashi. He threw punches at Kakashi but Kakashi dodged them all. Naruto kept throwing punches as Kakashi kept dodging until Naruto got a hold of Kakashi's hand, and once he did, he held tightly as he took a deep breath before he released fog from his mouth. Kakashi tried to dodge it but couldn't as Naruto was holding his hand very tightly. Kakashi watched as his hands become encased in ice when the fog went through his hand. Kakashi couldn't do anything as the fog went through Kakashi, and when it did, Kakashi was completely covered in ice. Naruto took the bells from Kakashi and gave it to Sasuke and Sakura, who were still surprised by how Naruto, the dead last, could defeat Kakashi. Naruto turned to Kakashi, who was still encased in ice. Heat Blast. Naruto's hands were on flame and he put his hands on the ice-encased Kakashi and moved his hands around Kakashi over and over until the ice melted and turned to water. Kakashi was shivering from the coldness of being encased in ice. "How did you do that?" asked Sasuke. "It's secret," whispered Naruto loud enough for Sakura and Sasuke to hear it. Naruto kept melting the ice that was still covering the lower half of Kakashi's body. No one said anything for a while as Naruto was busy melting the ice that was still covering the lower half of Kakashi's body. All the while Sasuke was just wondering what and how Naruto did that, while Sakura was too busy looking at Sasuke and thinking about how hot Sasuke, or just about Sasuke in general. Once Kakashi was no longer covered in ice, Kakashi looked at this three genin and saw that Naruto did not have a bell. "Well, I guess Naruto will be back to the academy," stated Kakashi. "No, Naruto should pass. I'll be the one that should be sent to the academy," stated Sasuke. After all, Naruto was the one who beated Kakashi, and Sasuke couldn't live and call himself a Uchiha if he passed because Naruto did everything while he did nothing. It just wouldn't be fair. "No, I should be the one to fail," stated Sakura. She couldn't let Sasuke or Naruto be sent back to the academy. They were stronger. Her and Naruto did do most of the work, so she couldn't in good conscience let Naruto be sent back to the academy or her true love, Sasuke. "It looks like you'll have to pass us all or fail us all," said Sasuke as Naruto and Sakura nodded in agreement. "Yeah, we're a team," said Naruto as he put his hands on Sasuke and Sakura's shoulders and smiled at them for standing up for him. Naruto always trusted himself only when he was a child, but having a team like them might not be so bad as he previously thought. "Well, then you all fail," said Kakashi as the genins had those looks of disbelief that was funny, well except for Naruto who looked indifferent. "I'm joking, you all pass," stated Kakashi as he laughed at the funny look that they had on their faces. Man, it was priceless. Meanwhile Sasuke and Sakura were glaring at Kakashi, but Naruto was looking up at the sky with anxious. "I see, then I'll be going now," said Naruto before he disappeared in a flash of light before anyone could say anything, but they did see the look on his face that showed them that he had something on his mind. Naruto reappeared in a flash of light in the Hokage's office, which surprised Hokage at his sudden arrival. "Naruto, are you ready to go to the council meeting?" asked Sarutobi as he could see that Naruto had something on his mind. "Yeah, of course I'm, Gigi," said Naruto with confidence, but Sarutobi could easily see that Naruto's mind was elsewhere. "Okay, then follow me," said Sarutobi as he guided Naruto. They walked for about 10 minutes or so. Before they reached their destination, they got to the council room to see that everyone was there. "Now the meeting shall begin," claimed Hokage as he took his seat while Naruto was in front of the council for the meeting. "What is this about?" asked one of the civilians from the civilian council as everyone was wondering the same thing. "This is about Naruto and his awakened Kekkei Genkai," said the Hokage as he gestured to Naruto. This caught everyone's attention as they never thought that Naruto had a Kekkei Genkai. "Since when did Naruto have Kekkei Genkai?" asked Shikaku as he asked the question that everyone wanted to ask. "It was during the time that he stopped Mizuki from stealing the Forbidden Scroll," answered Sarutobi as Naruto did say that he awakened his Kekkei Genkai and that it was the reason that he aged. "What is this Kekkei Genkai?" asked Hiyashi as he didn't know what Kekkei Genkai Naruto had or that Naruto even had Kekkei Genkai. "That's a secret," said Naruto, which infuriated the civilians thinking that the Kyuubi was trying to act superior than them. "Die in hell, Kyuubi," said a nameless, unknown civilian with anger. Naruto got in front of the civilian before he released a fog from his mouth and sent to at the civilian. As soon as the fog went through the civilian and disappeared, the civilian was incased in ice before Naruto launched a powerful punch at the civilian incased in ice and the ice incased civilian shatter into frozen pieces, which he picked up and put them in front of him. "Sorry about that, but it was his fault. You can't go around breaking the laws without facing the consequences. Either you have power or not. Does not excuse you from breaking the law," stated Naruto before he exhaled a small fireball that was very hot that it turned the shattered incased pieces of the civilian into ashes within seconds. "Naruto, this is serious. We need you to explain what your Kekkei Genkai," stated Sarutobi with a serious face and a serious tone. "Fine. Well, my Kekkei Genkai gives me control over fire and ice. It also allows me to increase my size, and it increases my intelligence," explained Naruto as he summed up what he could do, though he only told them a few of his abilities when in fact he had thousand upon thousand of more abilities that he didn't tell them. Everyone was speechless as they were still trying to get over the shock of Naruto having a powerful Kekkei Genkai which they have never seen or even heard about. "Could you demonstrate the powers of your Kekkei Genkai?" asked Shuza, Choji's father. Naruto just shrugged. He put out his hand and out of nowhere fire appeared as the fire took the shape of a small dragon that flew around Naruto's hand before the flame faded. Then ice appeared out of nowhere as it turned into a small dolphin that looked like it was jumping out of the ocean. The dolphin then melted into water and hit the floor. "That still doesn't change the fact that he is the Kyuubi," said one of the ignorant civilians on the civilian council side. Naruto laughed at that before his body grew over and over as he kept growing until his head touched the ceiling which 50 feet high from the ground. "What was that?" asked Naruto as he looked down at the civilians. Nothing. Nah, Naruto," said the civilians and everyone else in fear as they saw him grow into 5 times the size of an average person. They all felt scared of Naruto as he could easily crush them. "That's what I thought. And that was just half my maximum size, so you better watch what you say or I'll crush you," stated Naruto before he turned into his normal size. Everyone gulped at the thought of an 100 feet tall Naruto crushing them with his foot, like a human steps on an ant. "Now, we have to deal with your bloodline, Naruto. You have to take up multiple wives, so that your bloodline will carry on, and that means that you can create your clan," said Sarutobi. "I'll revive my clan, the Uzumaki," said Naruto. Naruto was going to revive High Clan and no one was going to stop him. Whether it was Danzo or whoever did not matter because he would kill them, should they get in the way of Naruto reviving his clan. "But Hokage, wouldn't be better if Naruto joined my clan? Surely joining my clan would be better than reviving a nearly extinct clan," stated Hiyashi. The real reason he wanted Naruto to join his clan would mean that Naruto's new and powerful bloodline would be the Hyugas, and this would no doubt make the Hyugas the strongest clan. "That would depend on Naruto," said Sarutobi as he looked at Naruto for his answer. He knew Naruto would rather choose revive his own clan. "As I said before, I'll revive my clan," stated Naruto as he spoke loud enough to make sure everyone was able to hear him. he going to revive his clan and only his clan. Well Naruto, you have to have at least 3 wives, said Sarutobi as he told Naruto the minimum amount of wives he would have to have. I'll do that when I'm old enough, said Naruto, looking everyone in the eye, so that they would know that Naruto wasn't going to change his mind. You will get files to look through and you'll have to choose who you think could be your wives as candidates, stated Homura, one of Sarutobi's advisors. Homura used to be Sarutobi teammates when they were in a team with the Nadaime Hokage as their sensei. Later, after Sarutobi became the Sandaime Hokage, he was chosen to be Sarutobi's advisor. I'll do that after I become a Junin, as I would like to be in top of my shape before I consider doing that, said Naruto. Naruto lied as he had no desire to have a child who could be kidnapped by them or be filled with the lies of the council. No, he wasn't going to let them use him as a way to produce strong child, that they will turn loyal shinobi by brainwashing the children with their lies. That will be all. Anything else will be planned out and discussed by Naruto and I, said Sarutobi as he council got up and separate as they went to their home. The council left and so did he advisors and Danzo. They left until only Naruto and the Hokage was left. See ya later, old man, said Naruto before he disappeared in a flash of light, leaving the Hokage to walk to his office and be surprised by the paperwork on his desk. The Hokage spent the whole day crying as he dealt with all the paperwork. Naruto reappeared in a flash of light in his apartment and he saw that it was 7:34 p.m. and decided to go to sleep as he was tired from today. But before he went to sleep, he put seals on the door and window, so no one would be able to get into his apartment unless it was him or someone he trusted with his life. There were only 2 people, they were Azimuth and Sarutobi. A month had passed. Naruto and his team had spent their time doing boring, lame D-rank mission as a way to build trust and teamwork. Though Naruto and Sasuke had spent their own time training and were stronger than before, while Sakura became weaker than before as she didn't do any training and spent most of her own time stalking Sasuke, worshipping Sasuke or doing something to do with Sasuke. Team 7 is here to report the success of our mission, said Kakashi as he gestured to his team. Sakura and Sasuke were glaring at the Tora as they had claw marks on their body caused by Tora, while Naruto was holding Tora in his hands while Tora seemed relaxed and happy as he was resting in Naruto's hands, and Tora seemed happy when Naruto put his hand on the cat as the cat would let out a purr. This is the new record time that someone has captured Tora, stated Sarutobi as he paid them their pay for the D-rank mission. It seemed that Team 7 was doing well out of all the teams since they did do more missions than the other teams. Naruto handed Tora to the wife of the Fire Daimyo. Gigi, can't we have a harder mission like a C-rank mission? Asked Naruto. He was tired of doing boring D-rank mission with a low pay. He wanted something more challenging like a C-rank mission instead of a D-rank mission. Naruto, show respect to the Hokage. He'll give you a C rank when you're ready, said Iruka as he couldn't let Naruto insult the Hokage. Also, he didn't like the idea of Naruto doing a C rank mission as it had a higher risk percentage and he didn't want Naruto to die because he wasn't ready for a C rank mission. Naruto, give me a reason why I should give you a C rank mission, demanded Sarutobi as he looked at Naruto for reasons as to why he should take a C ranked mission. We did do the required amount of D-ranked missions to be qualified to do a C-rank mission. We can also send for help if we're in a pickle, and besides, Kakashi-sensei is a Junin level ninja and I beated him, so that makes me stronger than a Junin level ninja, while Sasuke was a high genin and we have trained during the whole month, so I'm stronger than before and so is Sasuke, explained Naruto. What he said did make sense as Sarutobi had guessed that Naruto was probably a low S-level ninja, which meant that he was strong enough to handle most trouble and his whole team were stronger due to training. I can't argue with that. Your first C rank will be to escort Tazuna and protect him from bandits, said Sarutobi as he handed Kakashi the scroll for this, which had all information about the mission. A man who was drinking walked in. 2 snot-nosed kids and a weird one-eyed masked ninja, So this my escort? I mean I can understand the blonde and the one-eyed masked ninja, but are these snot-nosed brats really shinobi? Said Tazuna before he took a sip of his bottle. Well, this is what you paid for, replied Naruto, before he got his orange book out and started reading it, which to surprise and shock of everyone including the Hokage and Iruka. Okay team, go pack 2 weeks worth of food, clothes and water, also pack some weapons. You have an hour to get ready. Once you're ready we'll meet at the gate, commanded Kakashi as they were now officially on a C-rank mission. Naruto disappeared in a flash of light. Naruto teleported in his apartment and went to the kitchen to seal 2 weeks worth of food in a green scroll. Then he went into the bedroom and sealed 2 weeks worth of clothes in a brown scroll. Then he went to the sink in the kitchen to seal up enough water to last for 2 weeks in a blue scroll. He looked at his watch to see that he still had some time left. Naruto decided to head to Ichiraku's ramen. When he got there he was welcomed by Ayame and Chuki. Naruto ordered a 7 miso ramen and waited for Chuki to finish making them. As soon as it was done, Ayame brought it to Naruto, who ate it quickly in a couple of minutes. Once Naruto was finished he paid for the ramen and headed to the gate. Once Naruto got there, he saw that he was the first person to arrive and took out his orange book to read it as he waited for the others. After a minute Tazuna arrived and waited for the others as he drank. Next Sasuke and Sakura showed up after 5 minutes. They all waited patiently for Kakashi for half an hour before he finally appeared. Then Team 7 and Tazuna left Konoha as they rushed to the Land of Waves. Team 7 and Tazuna were walking through the forest on a clear path to the Land of Waves. On their way they saw a puddle of water and thought nothing of it. When they passed the puddle of water, the puddle turned into 2 ninjas who wrapped their chains around Kakashi and ripped him to pieces, much to the horror of Team 7 and Tazuna except Naruto. The ninjas rushed at Sakura but was intercepted by Naruto as one of them collided with Naruto's fist, which knocked the ninja out, while the other tried to attack Sakura but jumped back to avoid the grand fireball jutsu that Sasuke shot out of his mouth. The ninja saw Naruto's fist closing in on his face and moved back to avoid it, only to be knocked out by a round kick by Naruto as the Naruto in front of the ninja disappeared, leaving only smoke behind. Kakashi, stop hiding, said Naruto as he picked up the 2 ninjas and tied them against a tree with a rope that he got from Sasuke and tied it very tightly to make sure that they wouldn't escape. Kakashi came from behind a tree. Now Tazuna cared to explain why these ninjas were trying to kill you. Oh, and last time I checked this was a C-rank mission. That means we only supposed to protect you from bandits until you're finished building the bridge. If we knew this mission included ninjas then this would be a B-rank mission or higher, said Kakashi as he looked at Tazuna. The Land of Waves was fine until Gato started his shipping business and drained our country dry of most of its wealth and took control of the Land of Waves. I didn't have enough money for a B-rank mission, so I paid for a C-rank mission. It is important to the Land of Waves that I complete the bridge as it will help us get rid of Gato's control over us. But when Gato heard about this, he hired ninjas to kill me and stop me from finishing the bridge. I'm sorry that I lied to you, said Tazuna as he bowed his head in apologize as he felt bad for deceiving them. We should go back. This is too much for you guys. You just finally got to do a C-rank mission, said Kakashi as he told them it was better to head back since this was out of their league. I mean they just stopped doing D-ranked missions. You guys can go back if you, but I'm staying. I'm strong enough to take down any Junin by myself. After all, I'm a high A-class ninja, very close to becoming a low S-class ninja, stated Naruto as he puffed out his chest in pride at the fact that he was very strong. He was already a S-class ninja, but he lied to them because he knew that, but they didn't know that. I say we continue the mission. I mean it would bad to Konoha's image if we didn't a mission, stated Sasuke. There was no way he was going to let Naruto get stronger as Naruto did a real mission while he was stuck doing boring chores. No, he couldn't let Naruto be stronger than him as Naruto was his rival and he couldn't let Naruto reach Itachi's level before him. If you're on board then so am I, claimed Sakura as she agreed with Sasuke. She would do anything to get Sasuke's attention, and then one day Sasuke will recognize her, she will win his heart. I guess we're continuing the mission then, said Kakashi as he sighed at what was to come during the mission. He knew that it was going to be pain for him as he would have to protect Sasuke, Sakura and Tazuna while fighting enemy ninjas. He knew Naruto was right and that Naruto could handle himself as he was a high Chunin level ninja. Team 7 continued their mission and walked to their destination, the Land of Waves. As they escorted their client, they walked for what seemed like hours before Naruto sensed something moving and threw a kunai at it. He rushed in and saw that it was a white rabbit with the kunai over his head. When Kakashi saw the white rabbit, he wondered about it, and then a thought hit him when he saw Naruto get down on the ground. "Get down!" shouted Kakashi. Got down on the ground and pulled Tazuna down while Sasuke and Sakura got down just in time as they were able to dodge a huge sharp blade that flew over them and stabbed a tree. Kakashi of the Sharingan, now I understand why the demon brothers failed, said the person as he appeared on top of the blade before he jumped down and pulled the blade out of the tree and held it in his hand. Demon of the Mist, Zabuza, it looks like I'll have to fight you, said Kakashi as he sighed. He knew something like this would happen. Kakashi pulled up his headband to reveal a Sharingan in his left eye socket. Zabuza disappeared with his huge blade and reappeared standing on top of the water. Ninja art. Hidden mist jutsu, called Zabuza as he created thin swirling mist which grew thinner with every second that passed. Team 7 got in a formation to protect Tazuna as Naruto guarded the left side, Sakura guarded the right while Sasuke guarded the front of their client. The mist grew so thin that was impossible to see anything. 8 points. Larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular, subclavian artery, kidneys and heart, said Zabuza as his voice echoed through the mist. The mist that surrounded slowly resided as Kakashi unleashed his chakra to push away the mist that was blinding them. Calm down, I'll protect you guys from Zabuza, said Kakashi as he calmed down everyone, especially Sasuke, when he saw Sasuke about to stab the kunai Sasuke's throat. Zabuza got behind Team 7 and he separated them from the client and was about to have his blade cut through Tazuna, but Kakashi got in front of him and stabbed him only for Zabuza to turn into water. Zabuza appeared behind Kakashi and cut him in half with his blade and thought that he had killed Kakashi, only for Kakashi to turn into water, showing that he was a water clone. It's over, don't move, said Kakashi as he appeared behind Zabuza holding a kunai in his hand which was very close to Zabuza's throat, threatening to cut it in pieces should Zabuza decide to move or be a hassle for Kakashi. Another Zabuza appeared behind Kakashi as he was stood behind with his blade about cut Kakashi in half as the Zabuza in front of Kakashi turned into water to show that it was a water clone. Zabuza was about cut Kakashi when Kakashi ducked and the blade hit the ground. Zabuza twisted his body as he sent Kakashi flying not the lake as he pulled on the blade to increase the power and speed of his kick. Then he rushed behind Kakashi. Water release. Water prison. Zabuza called his jutsu, but before Kakashi could do anything he was imprisoned in a ball of water with Zabuza's hand in it. Kakashi tried to escape but the water was too dense. It may be made out of water but it's denser than steel, stated Zabuza as he thought that he had this in the bag. After all, he had neutralized the threat that could have stopped him from killing Tazuna and could have killed him. Another Zabuza was formed from water as Zabuza created a Mizu clone of himself flawlessly as he didn't make a single hand seal or did he have to call out the name of the jutsu. Mizu clone, go deal with the brats, commanded the real Zabuza as the Mizu clone nodded. But before the Mizu clone could complete its task, it was burned and killed by a fireball half the size of a human. Naruto rushed at Zabuza and his hands were on fire as he ran at Zabuza, and Zabuza swung his blade with the intent of slicing Naruto in half, but before it could touch Naruto, Naruto teleported in a flash of light right in front of Zabuza and hit Zabuza with a full-powered punch as he used the fire to do more damage to Zabuza. Zabuza crushed against a tree and couldn't move as his body was too injured. Naruto opened his hand and created a small fireball to kill Zabuza as he closed in on Zabuza, but before he could kill Zabuza, Zabuza was hit with a Senbon to neck. As Zabuza died, a mist hunter nin jumped from the trees and picked up Zabuza's dead body. "I've been chasing Zabuza for a while and I want to thank you for helping me kill him," said the mist hunter nin before he shunshined away with the dead body of Zabuza. Kakashi got up from the lake and stood up in front of Naruto. Kakashi gave him a smile and said, "Thank for the assist." Before Kakashi tripped over as his body was tried due to the drain of using the Sharingan, luckily Naruto caught him and helped him get to land. "Tazuna, do you have a picture of you home?" asked Naruto. He didn't want to do this but he had no choice as Kakashi was very drained while Tazuna, Sasuke and Sakura were tired as this was the first time they had ever felt that they were going to die, as they felt the presence of a person way stronger than them and a person that could have killed them had Kakashi and Naruto not stopped him. "Yeah, I do. Why?" asked Tazuna as he got out a picture of his home and gave it to Naruto, who took a long good look at the picture as he memorized every little piece of the picture before he gave the picture back to Tazuna. "I'm gonna teleport us there," said Naruto as if it was the simplest thing in the world. This made the others deadpanned at how easy and simple it seemed, even though it wasn't. "You mean you could have teleported us from the start and saved us the trouble of dealing with Zabuza, but you chose not to," said Sakura as he, Sasuke and Tazuna were angry at the fact that Naruto could have teleported them there but decided not to. Kakashi knew that Naruto must have had a reason for not doing. "I tell why I chose not to teleport us there from Konoha but chose to do it now," stated Naruto as he had everyone place their hands on his shoulder except for Kakashi, who was leaning on Naruto for support as Kakashi couldn't move his feet anymore. Suddenly everyone disappeared in a flash of light. Everyone reappeared just outside of Tazuna's house. Everyone seemed alright when of a sudden everyone except Naruto vomited and emptied their stomachs as their body was aching in pain, as their body felt like it was being crushed by pure pressure, but after a few minutes the pain faded. "That's the price of using my jutsu. The further the place you want to teleport to, the longer and greater the pain will be, and it takes up a lot chakra to use once," said Naruto as he explained the drawback of using his jutsu. "So if you used it from Konoha all the way here, then it could have killed us from the pain of teleporting such a long distance," stated Sakura as her eyes widened, and so did the eyes of everyone except Naruto as they all saw why Naruto didn't teleport them here from the start. "No, it definitely would have killed you. I can only teleport people about 1 to 4 miles, but only and the average human wouldn't be able to handle the pain," stated Naruto, making everyone fear that jutsu Naruto used. They decided that it was best they didn't anger him or he might teleport them 5 miles away from here and let die in a painful way. Everyone walked in and decided to leave the matter outside as they wanted into the living room, where everyone saw a beautiful woman with black. Sasuke thought it was his mother, Makoto Uchiha, but it wasn't. "Hello. It's nice to meet you all. I'm assuming you're my father's escort bodyguard," said the woman as she greeted them politely. "Everyone, I want you to meet my daughter, Tsunami," said Tazuna as he introduced his daughter to Team 7. "I find that hard to believe," stated Naruto as he didn't believe what Tazuna just said. "Why is that?" asked Tazuna as he and everyone waited for Naruto's answer. "1, she's beautiful and you're not. 2, she's polite and kind, and also, she looks too young to be your daughter," stated Naruto. After hearing that, Team 7 nodded their heads in agreement while Tazuna was infuriated by what Naruto said. As for Tsunami, well, she was blushing at the compliments that he said she was beautiful and young as if it was truth. "Are you saying I'm ugly, unkind, and that I'm rude?" asked Tazuna as he sent a glare at Naruto. "Well, if the shoe fits, then yes, and I have to say, the shoe fits perfectly," said Naruto as he looked Tazuna's glare and dismissed it as though it was nothing. "You're dead," said Tazuna as he was about to jump at Naruto and try and kill him. Tsunami got in front of Tazuna. "San, don't be so rude and immature. You're older than him and you should act your own age," said Tsunami as he shook her head slowly to show that she disappointed by how Tazuna was acting. Tazuna put his head down in while Naruto was laughing at Tazuna getting told by Tsunami. Now I'll be in the kitchen cooking dinner and I hope I don't have to come back to see you messing around. Do I make myself clear? Tsunami asked as she looked angry and ready to kill someone as her killer intention was scaring everyone. They watched as in her place was a demon about to jill someone and take them to hell. Yes ma'am, answered everyone as they nodded in agreement with Tsunami, not wanting to die yet. They all were sweating as they could feel the desire to kill from Tsunami and they were all too afraid to say anything. Good, then I'll be in the kitchen if anyone needs me, stated. Tsunami was happy and she was smiling. Tsunami clapped her hands and walked into the kitchen. Sensei, what was that? I mean, I felt like I was about to be killed by a demon, said Sasuke as he had never felt more sacred in his life. She was way scarier than Itachi or Zabuza. That was the righteous fury of a mother and a woman combined into one. Sasuke, said Kakashi as if he was full of wisdom. Kakashi was acting as if he was a wise old man like in those old kung fu movies. Well, I guess I'm gonna help Tsunami with the cooking hut. You four definitely need to take a shower, pointed Naruto as he gestured to the bit of vomit that everyone had on their clothes from when they vomited earlier. Everyone went to take a shower. First was Tazuna, then was Kakashi, next was Sasuke and last was Sakura because she wanted to take a shower after Sasuke, so when she would be showering in the same place that Sasuke showered at because she would be able to smell Sasuke's scent when he was taking her shower, while Naruto went to help Tsunami with cooking, which made Tsunami happy as cooking by yourself was lonely and boring. After Tsunami and Naruto finished making dinner, they brought the food to the dining room where they ate and had a good time talking. Before they got ready for bed, Sakura slept in the first guest room, Inari slept with Tazuna in the second guest room, while Kakashi and Sasuke slept in third and finally guest room. Once Tsunami guided everyone to their room, she was able to go to her bedroom when she saw Naruto. Don't worry, I'll sleep in the living room, said Naruto. No, you're a guest. I will sleep in the living room, said Tsunami as she walked Naruto to the main bedroom. After she showed Naruto to his room, she turned to head to the living room. I have a better idea instead, said Naruto as he grabbed Tsunami and put her on left side of the bed while Naruto slept at the right side of the bed as they faced away from each other. Team 7 and Tazuna woke up and got ready to continue the construction of the bridge. When they realized that Naruto wasn't in the living room, they searched everywhere but couldn't find. Tazuna decided to ask his daughter as he rushed into the room and saw that Tsunami was sleeping with arms around Naruto in bliss. Tazuna got out the room and closed the door. He then opened the door and saw Tsunami sleeping with her arms around Naruto. Tazuna thought that he was imagining things and closed the door before he reopened the door to confirm his worst nightmare. No! Shouted Tazuna as he cried to the heaven about what he had seen. His cry of anguish could be heard by everyone in the elemental nations. Tazuna, what's wrong? Asked Kakashi as he had heard Tazuna's cry of anguish as a cry for help and rushed to help. Huh, what's going on? Asked Tsunami as she woke up from her blissful sleep when she had heard some sort of cry for help and woke up to see what the noise was about. Naruto, how could you? Asked Tazuna as he cried over the belief that Naruto had slept with his daughter. This caused Naruto to got up and see what was happening. Well, we're found Naruto. Now to continued construction of the bridge, said Kakashi as he and Team 7 except Naruto pulled Tazuna to the direction of the bridge. You'll never take my daughter from me, Naruto, you hear? Never! Shouted Tazuna as he was taken to the bridge by Kakashi and Team 7 with the exception of Naruto. Whatever, said Naruto before he went back to sleep with Tsunami. Naruto, I'll kill you, said Tazuna as he held a knife in his hand and had a look on his face that would convince anyone think that he was crazy and dangerous. Naruto got his head up from his orange book and looked Kakashi. What's up with him? Said Naruto as he asked Kakashi. You and Tsunami, said Kakashi, reading the orange book as he never took his eyes off of the book. Me and Tsunami. Nothing happened between us, stated Naruto before he got his head and continued to read his orange book in peace and quiet. Tazuna didn't believe Naruto's words. Stop lying. We both you defiled my daughter, and don't say you didn't, because we all know you were flirting with her, and while we were all asleep, you had your way with daughter, said Tazuna as he cried at the thought of someone taking advantage of his daughter before he continued to glare at Naruto. What are you guys talking? Asked Sasuke as he and Sakura genuinely had no idea what Naruto and Tazuna were talking. I mean, what the hell did Tazuna meant when he said Naruto defiled his daughter? You're too young to understand, said Naruto as he looked at Sasuke and Sakura before facing Tazuna. Besides, Tazuna is just a bit crazy and letting his imaginations go wild, said Naruto, taking a single glimpse at Tazuna before he laid on his back. Naruto stated the fact that Tazuna was crazy as though it was the cold, hard truth. Why you? I'll cut you, yelled Tazuna as he tried to attack Naruto, but before Tazuna could touch him, Kakashi and Team 7, except Naruto, got in his way and stopped Tazuna in his track. Did you say something? Said Naruto as he pretended not to hear Tazuna, which enraged Tazuna to no ends. Kakashi couldn't believe how easy it was to enrage Tazuna. What was that? Why don't you come here and I'll show you, said Tazuna as he tried again to charge at Naruto, but Kakashi and the rest of Team 7 didn't let him. However, they were surprised by the strength of Tazuna. He was as strong as an ox. Naruto about make a comment about Tazuna being crazy, but then his watch started beeping. Anyways, if what Kakashi said is right, then that means that Zabuza isn't the only problems. This means that you guys have trained while I go on a little trip, said Naruto as he proceeded to walk out and into the forest so no one could see him. Naruto as he disappeared in a flash of light and reappeared at a familiar place when he saw a figure come out of the shadows. It turned out to be Azimuth, but when Naruto touched Azimuth, his hands went through Azimuth, which meant that it was a hologram of Azimuth. Naruto, if you're listening to this, then this means that you have come to help. I need you to go to Primus and help me protect it from Vilgax, said the hologram of Azimuth. Vilgax. Oh yeah, I remember Azimuth saying something about Vilgax wanting to take over the world with the Omnitrix or something, said Naruto as he used Azimuth's teleporter device to teleport himself to Primus and used his watch to find the location of Azimuth. When Naruto got there, he saw a group of weird-looking boys which guided Naruto to Azimuth, but as soon as he got there he saw that Azimuth, a red-haired girl who was Gwen, a black-haired guy who was Kevin, and a guy with brown shaggy hair who was Ben 10, all four of them were chained to the wall. Naruto knew who they were because Azimuth told him about them. Not as impressive as Azimuth said, he was probably over-exaggerating about them, thought Naruto as he saw that all of them were defeated by one person. I mean, seriously, they're supposed to be powerful heroes, but they lose to one person, technically an alien. Azimuth, tell me how to use this device and I may spare you from your demise, said Vilgax as he tried to know how to use the Omnitrix. Naruto has decided to see how this would play, as he didn't want to make his presence known yet, especially since Vilgax had the Omnitrix and there was no way Naruto could beat Vilgax and get Omnitrix back, so he decided to see Ben 10 in action. After all, Ben 10 was known as a hero by many aliens from different galaxies. Naruto rushed before Vilgax in a silent manner as Naruto grabbed the Omnitrix and turned intangible before Vilgax knew what hit him, as Naruto was able to take the watch from Vilgax, but Vilgax noticed Naruto's presence when he took the Omnitrix from Vilgax. Give me the Omnitrix, said Vilgax as he charged at Naruto with his sword and tried to slash Naruto with his sword, but Naruto dodged it and responded by punching back with a chakra-focused fist, causing Vilgax to kneel down and cover his stomach with his hands to try and ease the pain that was caused by Naruto's punch. Vilgax got up, grabbed Naruto's face and then slammed his knee against Naruto's face. Naruto retaliated by throwing barrage of powerful punches at Vilgax. It was too much for Vilgax as he fell down head first after being seriously hurt by Naruto's punches. That wasn't so hard, stated Naruto as he went to free the prisoners, but before he was hit by a red beam and sent him to a couple of feet away from where he stood. Naruto tolerated the pain as he got up, created a Rasengan on his hand before he charged at Vilgax and slammed the Rasengan against Vilgax, making Vilgax hit the wall where the prisoners were hanging before falling into the greenish water. But before Naruto could celebrate, Vilgax came out of the greenish water and was glowing at an incredible rate until he was 100 feet tall. "This time I'll crush you," said Vilgax as he looked down at Naruto as he was about to thump his foot on Naruto, but before he could. "Way big," said Naruto as he stopped Vilgax's foot as Naruto started to grow until he became the same size as Vilgax. Naruto kneed Vilgax in the chest as Vilgax tried to punch Naruto, but Naruto caught the fist. "Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?" said Naruto as he punched Vilgax with Vilgax's own fist over and over, which caused Kevin and Ben to laugh. Naruto then grabbed Vilgax's legs and span him around before throwing him into outer space. Once Vilgax was gone, Naruto helped Vilgax's former prisoners as he got Ben, Gwen, Kevin and Azmith out of those chains. "So thanks for the help, but how did you grow so big like that?" asked Ben. He had never seen anyone, either human or alien, grow like that and beat Vilgax so easily. "Here," said Naruto as he got out of his pocket something which Ben could easily recognize. It was the Omnitrix. Naruto passed the Omnitrix back to Ben. "But how did you do that?" asked Gwen, with her curiosity being piqued by the mystery that was Naruto. After all, it wasn't every day that someone could beat Vilgax as easily as Naruto did. "I thought that Ben was strong, but he was a kid and I believed that the Omnitrix shouldn't be in the hands of a child. So I come up with a plan to create the ultimate being with the powers of all the aliens, but I lacked one thing. Someone with fast regenerative ability to heal the injuries caused by the process of having so many DNA added at once," said Azmith before he stopped to see if everyone was listening, and they did. Quote, "Then one day come a child with the fast regenerative ability. I spent 2 years knowing that child before I asked him if he would like the idea of becoming the ultimate being, and he agreed, so I merged the DNA of all aliens in the universe with his DNA to make him the ultimate being," said Azmith as he explained and answered for everyone. "Well, I better get out of here," said Naruto as he focused chakra by disappearing and reappearing at a forest before deciding to take a nap. It was easy for Naruto to use the time and space jutsu that he learned from the Forbidden Scroll, as he had mastered that jutsu to the point where he could use it without having to perform any hand signs or even call out the jutsu. Quote, "Hello, are you alive?" asked a girl looking down at Naruto. Naruto was currently sleeping as last night he was busy trying to unlock another alien power. Naruto opened his eyes and he took a good look at the girl. She had long black hair and onyx-colored eyes and was wearing pink-colored clothes. "Hello, can you hear me?" asked the girl as she tried to get Naruto's attention. She could see that Naruto was looking at her and she didn't like it as she thought he was a pervert. Naruto heard her and he shook his head. "Oh, sorry about that. I'm Naruto Uzumaki," said Naruto as he scratched the back of his head when he realized that he had been looked at her too long and she probably thought that he was a pervert. "My name is Haku," said Haku as she introduced herself to Naruto. "So what are you doing out here?" asked Naruto. He took a sniff of Haku and could recognize her scent as the hunter Nin had the same scent. Naruto had stronger senses than most due to being a Jinchuriki, and he had learned that his senses were sharpened when he became the ultimate being. "I'm here to collect some herbs in order to help a friend of mine recover," replied Haku as she looked around. Naruto knew that friend was Zabuza Momochi, the same person that almost killed Kakashi. "Do you have any precious people?" asked Haku. Naruto thought of all the people he knew. There was Iruka Sensei, Sarutobi Gigi, and there was also Azmith. Naruto guessed Shikamaru and Choji count since they are his friends, but they barely hang out as Naruto is in a different team, so they don't have enough time to hang out. Yeah, I do, said Naruto as he grinned Haku. Then you will become strong, stated Haku as she turned and was walking away since she couldn't find any herbs around there. Plus she didn't want to be caught by Naruto as soon as he found out that she was the hunter nin, and she didn't want that, so she tried to leave without any suspicions. I know that you're the hunter nin, stated Naruto. Haku turned around and instantly took a few senbon from her kimono as soon as Naruto said that, as she looked ready for a fight, though Naruto didn't seem bothered. Naruto stood up and searched for something in his pockets, which made Haku cautious and get into a defensive stance. Naruto stopped searching and pulled out a bottle. Here, use it to heal Zabuza, said Naruto as he held out a bottle. Haku looked at Naruto and then looked at the bottle cautiously. How do I know this isn't poison? Asked Haku as she looked at Naruto suspiciously, but Naruto just laughed at that. Naruto opened the bottle and drank it. See, now you know that it's not poisoned, said Naruto as he closed the bottle with the lid and handed it to Haku, much to her surprise, as she was wondering why Naruto would give her that. After all, she was the enemy. Why are you giving me this? Asked Haku as she looked at Naruto with curiosity. They were enemies, yet Naruto still gave that to her. I want to be Zabuza ready, so after I beat him I bring him with me to the village hidden in the leaf, said Naruto like it was normal, which made Haku sweat drop at how normal he made it seem. I better go. Oh, and just so you know, I'm a boy, said Haku as she turned around and started to walk away from Naruto. Stop lying, I know you're a girl, said Naruto as he saw Haku turn around and looked in shock and surprise at Naruto for realizing that she was actually a girl, which made Naruto chuckle when he saw the shocked and surprised look on Haku's face. Bye, said Naruto as he concentrated chakra on his foot to increase his speed as he ran to Tazuna's house. After running for a few minutes, Naruto was able to reach Tazuna's house as Naruto stopped focusing chakra on his foot, and when he looked around he saw that Team 7, Kakashi, Inari and Tazuna weren't there. Naruto went into the kitchen and saw Tsunami. Where did everybody go? Asked Naruto as he looked at Tsunami for answers. Kakashi and Team 7 went to train. Tazuna went to continue building the bridge while Inari went to help Tazuna, said Tsunami as he answered the question. So when's your father gonna come back? Questioned Naruto. He'll be back in about 4 hours. Why do you want to know that? Said Tsunami as Naruto started smile. Could you help me with lunch because I'm hungry? Said Naruto as Tsunami tried to reply, but Naruto stopped her and dragged her to the kitchen before he got her to make some lunch for him. That was a long day, wasn't it? Asked Tazuna as he patted Inari on the back for helping him with the bridge. Ever since Naruto said that speech, Inari has been helping Tazuna with the bridge. After walking for a while, Inari and Tazuna heard a sound. What was that? Asked Inari, but Tazuna could swear that what he heard was a moan but thought nothing of it. The closer the two got to the house, the louder the sound became, and as soon as they were close enough, Tazuna realized that the sound was a moan all right, and when he realized that, he told Inari that he had to get something important at the house and ran ahead to the house. When Tazuna was near the house, Tazuna could hear moans. Naruto, don't stop, keep going, said a familiar voice which Tazuna knew too well, and ran into the house and at the door of Naruto's room. Naruto, stop doing that to my daughter, demanded Tazuna as he charged against the door, breaking the door, and looked inside to see that Naruto was on top of Tsunami. Dude, why did you break down my door? Said Naruto as he was angry at the fact that Tazuna just broke the door to the bedroom which Naruto and Tsunami share. Quote. Tazuna looked up to the heavens when he realized that Naruto was right about Naruto having with his daughter. No, shouted Tazuna as he cried out to the heavens in angst about his daughter being defiled by Naruto. Tazuna passed out as his mind couldn't cope with what he had seen. As soon as Tazuna passed out, the scene faded. revealing that it was a genjutsu as Naruto and Tsunami appeared in front of Tazuna with their clothes on and laughed at Tazuna. "I told you it would be funny, if we messed with his head," said Naruto as he had a huge grin on his face. "That was fun but I liked it," said Tsunami as she leaned in close onto Naruto's ear and whispered seductive. "You know I love a man who knows how to have fun." As soon as Tsunami said that, Naruto had a huge nosebleed before he passed out as well. This caused Tsunami to laugh at both Tazuna and Naruto until she realized that she had to clean the blood in the floor, then wake up and inform her father about the prank. Naruto was seating in the living as he, Inari and Tazuna were reading and drinking with the exception of Inari as he was only reading while Tsunami was making food with a twinkle in her eyes and a happy smile on her face as she danced happily around the kitchen as it was almost dinner time. Kakashi and the rest of Team 7 made their way to the living to see that Naruto and Tazuna were lazily drinking alcohol and reading. Team 7, remember that tomorrow is the day when Zabuza will be attacking Tazuna at the bridge, said Kakashi as he looked at Sakura and Sasuke as they both nodded their heads. Before long Kakashi looked at Naruto. Naruto could feel that Kakashi was looking at him. "Sorry, too lazy to care," stated Naruto, not giving an proper answer as he continued to read. He was blushing a lot while reading his orange book. "Great, just what we need. Someone who is more lazy than me," thought Kakashi as he sweat dropped. "Great, just what we need, another Kakashi-sensei," thought Sakura and Sasuke sarcastically as they rolled their eyes. "Did you hear what Kakashi-sensei said?" asked Sasuke, wondering where Naruto had. He couldn't tell if Naruto was listening or not. "I think he said, something about no life or something," said Naruto as he never took his eyes off the orange book and waved off whatever Sasuke asked or said. "Great, he's more like me than me as well," thought Kakashi while Sakura and Sasuke were clueless. "What are you talking about?" asked Sasuke as he and Sakura didn't understand what Naruto was talking about. "You two wouldn't understand," said Naruto as he didn't want to be the one to steal Sasuke and Sakura's innocence. He would be damned if he took their naivety about those kind of stuff. "Dinner's ready," said Tsunami as her voice was filled with happiness and joy. Everyone was sitting around the table as Naruto was sitting next to Tsunami. As everyone were eating their dinner, Naruto was eating the food slowly. He liked the food that Sunmi made, but it just wasn't ramen. He quickly finished his meal and went to his bedroom. Naruto lied on the bed as he went to sleep. He opened his eyes and saw that he wasn't in his bedroom anymore as he was near a waterfall in a forest. He looked around and saw a figure on top of the waterfall. "Who are you?" "Where am I?" asked Naruto when he caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure on top of the waterfall. The shadowy figure jumped down from the top of the waterfall. Before long the person landed on the ground without any signs of injury. Naruto was now able to see the person clearly as he saw that the person was Swampfire. "Now it is time to see if you are worthy of my powers. You may have defeated the other, but let's see if you can beat me," said Swampfire as he created a normal-sized fireball in his right hand. "Same rules. If I beat you like I did the others or prove myself worthy to you, then I get your powers forever, right?" asked Naruto as he had only defeat or proven himself worthy to 8 aliens so far. Gray Matter, Big Chill, Heat Blast, Homungosaur, XLR8, Diamond Head, Four Arms and Chromostone. Swampfire nodded his head before he threw the normal-sized fireball at Naruto. The fireball hit Naruto and Asti collided with Naruto. It created a huge amount of smoke that covered Naruto's whole body as Swampfire was trying to see if he had done anything to Naruto, only to get hit with a right hook from Naruto. Swampfire ignored the pain that he felt on his left cheek as he quickly kicked Naruto in the stomach but had to jump back when Naruto was about to hit him with the Rasengan. Swampfire directed his hands to Naruto as he launched a large waves of red-hot flames at Naruto as the flames engulfed Naruto in a couple of seconds until Swampfire could see nothing but flames. When the flames extinguished, there was nothing but a burnt trees, piles of ashes and a scorched ground. Swampfire saw the power of his attack and felt a bit disappointed since Naruto didn't even sat long enough against him. Swampfire was going to turn around and walk away since the fight was over, but before he could, he was hit with the Rasengan by Naruto, which sends Swampfire flying away. Swampfire broke through several trees as he was sent flying by the force of the Rasengan. Swampfire crashed through several trees and crashed against the ground. He got up and within moments he was able to regenerate completely. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu called out Naruto as he created 10 clones and charged with them towards Swampfire as they all took out shurikens and threw them at Swampfire with a flick of the wrist, which Swampfire avoided by jumping up. Swampfire threw a lot of seeds at the ground in front of Naruto and his Kage Bunshins. Naruto and his Kage Bunshins were charging at Swampfire when they suddenly stopped as vines that got out of the ground quickly wrapped around all of Naruto and his Kage Bunshins' legs. Swampfire created a giant fireball with both his hands before he threw it at Naruto and all his Kage Bunshins that were held in place by the vines. Naruto thought on his feet fast as he had the 2 closest clones that were in front of him and had them pull him out of the vine's grip and catapulted him up in the air and away from the giant fireball that heading towards them. You both equal in power. Let's end match by using our strongest moves, said Swampfire, and Naruto nodded as Naruto agreed with Swampfire. Ultimate Swampfire called Swampfire as he changed into his ultimate form. Swampfire pointed both of his hands towards Naruto. Take this, shouted Swampfire as he fired a large stream of blue flames at Naruto until Swampfire couldn't see Naruto at all. The blue flames were more hotter than regular flames. Swampfire waited to see if Naruto was down for count or still standing. Futon Rasenshuriken called Naruto as he charged Swampfire with the Rasenshuriken on his right hand before he slammed into Swampfire. As soon as the Rasenshuriken made contact with Swampfire, it expanded and before long it exploded. The explosion was strong enough to push Naruto 25 feet away from the explosion. When the explosion ended, Swampfire stood up. You win. My power is now yours, stated Swampfire as his body started to glow until he turned into light. Then the light towards entered Naruto's body. It was odd, but Naruto swore that could feel this feeling that was swirling inside him. It was the feeling of power. Naruto started to fade away as the world started to become a blur, and before long Naruto laying on his bed when he heard someone shout out, "Leave my Ka-san alone." Needless to say, Naruto quickly rushed downstairs to see 2 thugs carrying swords as they were trying to grab Tsunami, but Inari was in the way. "So the Gaki wants to play hero," said one of the thugs. The thugs grabbed the hilt of their katana as they were eager and ready to deal with Inari, so Naruto decided that it was time for him to deal with the thugs. Naruto used the Shunshin no Jutsu to get behind the 2 thugs. He quickly grabbed hold of both their head before he collided the 2 heads with enough power to knock out the thugs. Naruto used the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu to create a Kage Bunshin and had him tie up the thugs with rope. "Inari-chan, you did great. You were able to stand up to them," said Naruto as he smiled at Inari and ruffled Inari's hair, which made Inari smile. "You were the one who inspired me to stand up for myself and for what's right." Naruto smiled at Inari before he turned around to face his Kage Bunshin, and the Kage Bunshin nodded before it puffed out of existence. Naruto turned to send one more smile at Inari before he disappeared in flash of light. Naruto reappeared on the bridge in front to Zuna. He saw that Kakashi was doing well against Zabuza. Sasuke was in the center of ice mirrors and Sasuke was not doing well against Haku, as Sasuke was getting hit with a lot of Senbons from every ice mirror faster than Sasuke could react. Naruto rushed over to help Sasuke with his match. Naruto could see that Sasuke was tired, so he jumped inside the area filled with ice mirrors. Naruto grabbed Sasuke and throwed him outside of the area filled with ice mirrors. "Please give up. I don't want to hurt you," stated Haku as she asked Naruto to not fight or else she would have no choice but to kill him. "I will not." "I see. Then I will have to kill you," said Haku as she created ice Senbon before she threw them at Naruto from every mirror. Naruto extended his hands as he unleashed a large stream of flame from his hands as the flames touched the ice Senbons, melting them instantly, and the flames melted the ice mirrors when the flames touched the ice mirrors. As soon as the ice mirrors melted into water, Haku created a Senbon out of ice thanks to her bloodline and charged to attack Naruto, but Naruto noticed her, and before she could react he landed a full-powered punch that broke Haku's mask and sent her flying as she crashed into Zabuza and were out of the way before the Chidori could hit them, which meant that they dodged Kakashi's Chidori and escaped certain death. Suddenly a laughter was heard throughout the bridge as the mist was starting to lift and the bridge started to become clearer as the mist was disappearing. Everyone looked at the source of the laughter and saw a little midget, who was no doubt Gato behind an army of bandits. You couldn't handle a little group of weak ninjas, Zabuza. How pathetic that a former member of Seven Swordsmen of the Mist lost to a bunch of children, but it doesn't matter because I wasn't going to pay anyway, said Gato as he laughed. Whoever kills the most shinobis gets a huge bonus, declared Gato as all the bandits were motivated by the extra bonus and rushed at the shinobis. You bastard, said Zabuza as he was enraged by the fact that Gato, that slimeball, would trick and try to kill him. I guess I'll have to kill you all, said Naruto as he faced the bandit. The bandits were still 2 away from him. Naruto pulled and directed his hands towards the army of bandits that were charging at Naruto and sent a wave of flames which burned most of the bandits and killed by the flames. The remaining bandits were a bit afraid of Naruto's powers and didn't move at all. Whoever brings the head of that blonde brat gets a 50% bonus, declared Gato, and just like that the remaining bandits charged at Naruto against. Naruto pulled out some seeds from his pocket and threw them in front of the bandits, and within seconds, vines shot out of the ground and wrapped around the bandits as the vines made their way up to the neck of the bandits and wrapped around the neck of the bandits as it suffocated the bandits and killed them. Naruto made his way to Gato. Gato backed up in fear of Naruto after he witnessed how easily Naruto killed all the bandits. Naruto grabbed Gato and was able to finish him when the villagers arrived. When Naruto saw the villager, he threw Gato at villagers and everyone heard Gato's screams as the villagers got their revenge against Gato for all the horrible things he did to them and for making their life so difficult. My pervert senses are tingling. Someone must be getting really lucky, said a mid-aged man with white hair. He was peeking through a hole in the wall as he was checking out all the women on the other side of the hot string before he turned around to see a lot of guys looking at him. Please teach me the way of the pervert, said lots of guys as they bowed down to the king of perverts. I can't teach you. The way of the pervert is a way of life. You must commit to being pervert. We all commit to being a pervert, Jiraiya-sama, stated all of the guys at once. Then I, Jiraiya, king of all perverts, will teach you the way of the pervert, and from now on, you'll call me Jiraiya-sensei, said Jiraiya as he stroked a pose which he thought was made him look cool. Hi Jiraiya-sensei, said all the guys as they bowed down to Jiraiya and looked at him with respect, awe and admiration.